How's it going, everyone? It's Ben Falcon's Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to the movie review, aka for our Soul review video for today. This time for this new episode for this series is going to be my review on the 2023 horror film. And this film is also the 10th installment to this franchise that was created back in 2004. And as you guys can tell from the title of this video, of course, I'm here to review Saw X. Now, Saw X is the 10th installment to the Saw franchise, and this film serves as a sequel to the original Saw film and also a prequel to Saw 2. And this film was directed by Kevin Greutert, who has been one of the few people who has worked as an editor on the Saw franchise, and he's even directed two of the entries to the Saw franchise, which were Saw 6 and Saw 7. And so he has now come back to make a new entry to the Saw franchise, which is this film. And so the story of the film is that, hoping for a miraculous cure, John Kramer, aka Jigsaw, once again played by Tobin, travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure for this cure, only for him to discover that the entire operation is a scam and is also to defraud the vulnerable. And so, on with a newfound purpose, the famous serial killer uses his deranged and ingenious traps to turn the tables on the con artists themselves. So that's pretty much the story of Saw X. Now, when it comes to the Saw franchise itself, usually they can either be hit or miss in terms of entries they do for the franchise. Well, the ones I do tend to enjoy the most of when it comes to this franchise itself has always been the original film from 2004 by James Wan. I thought that was a really good start to a brand new series of horror films here, and for that film, I probably would say that's for that film, it's probably the least violent one when it comes to the Saw franchise itself, because that one mostly plays out as like a crime film and all that, as well as a bit of a mystery film and all that. But I thought James Wan did a really good job from introducing this whole new series of horror films here. And as for the sequels, well, 2 was a solid sequel, though not as good as the first film, but I still had a decent time with it and all that. And 6 wasn't too bad as well. I enjoyed 6. But for the other films, like we've had Jigsaw, I thought that was a decent entry to the franchise. And Spiral, which that was the last film in the franchise, I thought that film was okay, with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. And we've had 3 and 4, which those films were just meh films. And 5 and 7, we can all agree that those ones are arguably the worst ones in the franchise. Well, 7 specifically is the worst one in the franchise and all that. Like, I couldn't remember anything about that film or anything like that, because everything about that film was just terrible. But when I heard we were getting a new Saw film, I did not know what to expect from it or anything like that, because usually, like I said, when it comes to the Saw franchise itself, usually they can either be hit or miss or anything like that. But I was actually kind of looking forward to this one and all that, because I was surprised that this one is actually set in between some of the Saw films. Like, this one serves as a sequel to the original film and a prequel to Saw 2 and all that. So that was pretty interesting and all that. And I was surprised that this one was going to be from the director of Saw 6 and 7, which, for like I said, 6 wasn't too bad, but for 7, like I said, we can all agree that one is just the worst in the franchise. And so I went to see this film yesterday, and I saw this on my job for free in a really big screening, and I still have my ticket for the film, which I do have right here. And after watching this whole movie here, I can't believe I'm about to say this here. This film has got to be this new entry to the Saw franchise has easily got to be the best in the series here since the original film here. I had a blast with Saw X here. This movie was indeed awesome here. What I really liked in Saw X is that I liked how this film plays it all out to the character of John Kramer, or Jigsaw, where this film represents him as the main character here. And I really liked how this film dives deep into all that here, where it gives us a bunch of exposition of like why he does these horrific things to people, and where he brutally tortures them in all these traps that he's created here. And I just really liked, and I really appreciated all that here throughout the entire film here. And as for Tobin Bell's performance as the famous serial killer himself, he is of course terrific here, like he was in all the Saw films that he's appeared in, even in the bad ones and all that. And as for everyone else who were in the film, they were all pretty good for their strong performances here. And as for the traps themselves, they are pretty creative here, and yet really unique, although there were a few that did kind of feel similar to some of the other Saw films, but they were still pretty unique, yeah, and yet creative, yeah. Like, there's one involving the eyes, like in the one in the poster here, which that was pretty creative, yeah. And when it comes to the direction, it's pretty much what I expect to see when it comes to the Saw films, like the full like energy and all that, like hyper fuel energy and all that, and that's what I got and that's pretty much what I got out of this when it comes to, and that's pretty much what I got from the direction here for this film here. But the only issue that I only have with this film is that the pacing for the film does feel a bit rough. It's mostly in the first 30 minutes of the film, which I did feel were pretty slow, but it does manage to pick itself up once we get into like like the middle act of the film and all that. Once we get to see all the insanity of all these traps that we see in this film here. But overall, in the end, guys, Saw X, this film truly, really surprised me here. This is definitely one of the best entries to the Saw franchise since the original film here. And if you are a massive fan of the Saw franchise itself, this is one you truly don't want to miss out for yourselves here. So that's pretty much all to say about Saw X. I'm going to give Saw X 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, this movie really surprised me here, which is really surprising for me to say that, because I didn't really expect the Saw film to be really this awesome here. And despite having one little flaw I had with this film, I still managed to have myself a blast with this new film from beginning to end here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my A-After Saw review on Saw X, and let me know what you think of this new entry to the Saw franchise if you have seen this already, or if you just recently checked out this film. Did you have a bloody blast with this, or is this not really a popcorn tree? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.